Hello, this is Nikolai. Real talk from the fire. Coming at you. Erin won't be with me this evening because she says she don't want to hear what I have to talk about because it makes her feel bad. Well, my topic today is, I had quite a few people ask me. They said, Nick, I hear you've been shot, stabbed, cut. If I could expand on that. Like I say, I don't mind sharing anything because my life is an open book. I mean, I've been ridiculed, put down, charged with everything you can possibly imagine. So what matters, man, I'm just speaking the truth. This is from the fire, baby, Been there, done that. And, I'm going to share that with you. First of all, first time I lost my life, I was a teenager. This is back in the early 60s, in Jaurez, Mexico. Juarez, Mexico. That's when Mexico was Mexico. You know what I'm saying? It's cold-blooded. Anyway, I had a cousin. He used to take me over there all the time. He's the most baddest person I've ever known. Nicest guy, but he was dangerous. I'd never seen him. I mean, he could fight better than anybody I've ever seen in my life. And that's who taught me how to fight. My cousin. Anyway, one day he went over to Jaurez, where he used to hang out all the time. He took me a few times with him. Anyway, he got in an altercation over there, and about 7, 8 dudes, it took that many to take him down. They killed him. That hurt me worse than anything you could ever imagine. My cousin. The only cousin I truly loved, you know what I'm saying? They took his life, man, I mean, I couldn't get over it, and, it's like, so about a year later, it wasn't even that long, about 6 months later, I mean, it's like, I was one of those kind of guys, you couldn't tell me what to do. I was hard-headed, and my partner said, Nick, you can't go over there, dude. I said, I'm going over there. I went to Jaurez, man. Went to Jaurez, went to where he used to take me. That's where it all happened. I went there hollering at the bartender and stuff like that. A couple guys is in there. And they was talking stuff because they was part of the incident at that time with my cousin, And I got to talking crap to him, man. I told him what's happening. I was ready, I mean, I was a fighter, That's one thing that I could do back in those days. I mean, that's all I knew how to do was fight, So the shit burnt off, man, and I was on it. A dude hit me in the back with it, and I froze, and I went down. Cops were there. It was down in town, Juarez. So the cops was in there, broke everything up, and I woke up. I was in the hospital. Their hospital there, You should see their hospital. Anyway, I woke up there, and they looked at me like I was crazy. I said, they said, what? No sabe, and they don't understand, I should have been dead. He punctured me. Dude, I got 2 flying hearts on my back where I got hit with an ice pick. He punctured my heart. It killed me, man. My heart healed itself. It literally did. I don't understand it to the day. God had his hand on me. My heart healed itself. True story. Anyway, 2 days later I left. Went back. Everybody wanted to wait me. And I told them what happened, and they said, oh man, But anyway, that's the first time that I saw death. The second time I saw death was in Las Vegas, Nevada. I went there to see my father because I tell you, I mean, things are going great. My football career looked really good. I thought. And I went to Las Vegas and to see my father. And so I ended up going to see my friends, first of all. But he told me, Nick, don't. He said, just stay here tonight. My father has never said, stay here. My father never told me anything. All I remember his father doing when I was bad, when I was young, he used to pull my ear, man. I hated that. He used to pull my ear, you know, but I did the right thing because I didn't like my ear being pulled. My father, you know. Anyway, I said, no, Pops, I got to go see my partners, you know. So I left the house. I went to see them, and they lived in a really nice condo right off the strip. So I'm going back there, and I hear this noise in the background. And I looked up, and I ran back there, and I looked. There was these 3 dudes killing this dude, beating him down. I seen this one dude pull out a knife and stab him. And I ran back, and I picked this garbage can thing up. You know, pan. I grabbed it, and I hit one dude with it. And I slammed the other one. And one dude that was there, he took off, he ran. So I had him call the police, the ambulance, and the ambulance got there. It saved his life, you know. And 3 days later, I got ready to go back to Dallas. And, you know, these guys pulled up on me. He shot me point blank in my eye. Point blank, you know. The bullet's still in my head. That's the first time I really saw what was up, you know, as far as when I say what was up. My body left my soul. My soul left my body, should I say. And I was floating into this, it's hard to explain, you know, this ecstasy that was beyond anything that, it was just so beautiful. It's just so beautiful, man. You know? It was just so beautiful. I can understand why people die, because if they're going where they're going and they wanna, you're gonna go, man. You're gonna go, because this is where I think that you have a choice of free will. I chose not to go. It was the light, the energy. It was just like so surreal. It was like, and this is honest God truth. If I'm lying, oh, God's hit me right now and kill me. It's like, it was surreal, you know. But I chose to stay because at that time, my son, one of my oldest son was being born. I had something to come back for, you know. Literally, I came back to my body, and I was back in my body, you know. It's like, but that's something I will never forget. So I know there's a God. And this is, I've been trying to share people, regardless of what goes on in this world, God is in control, but He wants to see what you do with it. And that's something else I want to talk about. That's the second time I died. The third time I died, I was back east. You know. And I was downtown area, west side. And I heard all these gunshots going off and stuff. And I seen this woman across the street and she was screaming and hollering. It was ridiculous, man. And I would have too, you know, and everybody junking and dodging. There's about 3 dudes shooting down the street. Wasn't shooting nobody. They hit 2 or 3 people, but it's like they weren't really just out to kill everybody. I guess they had their targets. And anyway, one of the bullets, I grabbed this chick and threw her to the ground. And, you know, I laid over behind this car, you know, and she looked at me and she started screaming and crying. Ah, ah. I said, what's wrong? And I got shot. 38 in my stomach. So I started losing a lot of blood, and I just laid there, you know. They sent the cops and everything. I went to the hospital, and you know, I lived. That's the third time I died. Okay. And I went back to Hawaii. When I was in Hawaii, December 1979, Christmas Eve. How can you forget that, right? Christmas Eve, 1979, Waikiki. I went back to riding my pedicab because I really enjoyed pedicab riding. And I knew everybody on the street. Everybody in Waikiki I knew. All the Beach Boys, everybody. All the Usos, everyone. I had to fight all these guys when I first got to Hawaii. That's another story. Anyway, I'm driving down the street on my pedicab, and these guys, I knew them, Samoans. They were high on Quaaludes, and you on Quaaludes, you don't give a damn, you know what I'm saying? And this old white woman and her family, and they grabbed her purse and they slung this woman to the ground, you know. I'm on my pedicab, they like right there on the side. I jumped off my bike, I said, Junior, I said, bro, what's up? He said, fuck you, nigga, you know. And that's all he had to say, because I was a fighting fool, man. I downed him. It was like, bam, I'm fighting 4 dudes, man. And the third dude, I said, he came up behind me, and he cut my guts completely out. And I hit, and my guts ran down my leg. And I seen my guts running down. I knew I was dead, you know. And then next thing I know, bam, dude hit me. I'm on the ground, and all of a sudden I heard these dudes, brother! They coming. My partners. They came in, they slammed me, man. They picked me up, carried me across the street. I was in front of the Lollipop. I don't know if a lot of you know what was happening. All the OGs know what's up. The Lollipop. They laid me in front of the bench. They went and got called rags and shit. Laid on my stomach. Pushed all my guts back in with dirty hands. You know when you die, when your guts are exposed to the outside elements, you automatically die. The germs kill you. That's automatic. You're a dead man. So they put the ambulance got there. And I'm laying there and
emergency services.
And I died. And they brought me back. And next thing
now.
And next thing I know, I'm in the ambulance, and I get to the hospital, and I'm barely breathing, I'm barely alive. And this detective came into the hospital. He's looking at me. I'm dead, man. You know what he told me? He said, "Say, bro, you find them, we arrest them." This is what this idiot told me. I lay there. I died, evidently, and they pushed me to the morgue. And this one orderly was looking. My hand was out. He seen this little finger twitching. He said, "Man, this guy isn't dead." He pushed me back to the operating room, and they brought me back. Yeah, I was considered dead. I had the newspaper clipping saying that I was dead. You know. Anyway, they ran home and they told my old lady at that time that I was dead. You know, she freaked out. She came to the hospital. She walked in there and she saw me laying up there, not laying. I was alive, but I was alive, you know. And it was like, yeah. So yeah, we talk about death experiences. Yeah, and I'm still here. And you gonna tell me there ain't no God? You know, He's had His hand on me since the day I was born. Because if you realize what I had done and been through in my life, there is no human way possible I should be alive. And I thought I'd share that with you. This is what they wanted to know, what it was like. Yeah, it wasn't nothing fun. But when you live my lifestyle, you know, whatever comes, you deal with. You know, I didn't run from nothing. On a lighter note, you see this shark tooth? This is energy right here. Power energy. Right here. I bought this shark tooth because it's like I walked past it. My partner, he sells shark tooth, all kind. It's beautiful. I picked it up and I could just feel that energy. This thing is over millions of years old. This is a baby shark tooth right here. You know, that's my, as I can say, you know. And it just leads me to think about what people do with life. You know, I'm saying to myself about people that come from the dirt. You know what I mean by I say that? People that know what it's like to live in ghettos, that's been down, never had nothing in their life. I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. And these people, God gives you a talent. And what do with it? You go out, you become a superstar. You do so good, you make so much money. You buy 2, 3, 4 multi-million-dollar homes. For what? I mean, for what? A waste of money. Because see, for one thing I realized a long time ago, you can't take none of this with you, and it don't belong to any of us. You own nothing. You're just using it, borrowing it, or whatever you want to call it. You know? And what do? You spend all this wasted money. Do you live in these extra mansions that you live in? I mean, come on, give me a break. When there's so many people starving and suffering. You know? I mean, what kind of person could you possibly be? And these people, poor people, are what's keeping you adrift, is what I'm saying. They buy all your stuff, everything, because they idolize you, and you give nothing back. Nothing. Because to me, I don't think that you deserve half the shit you got. You didn't work for it, you didn't earn it, you know, and if you did, what are you doing with it? You know? So it's just a waste. You're just throwing it away, right? Literally just throwing it away. When you could take one of your mansions and feed millions of people. When you could take all them cars you got parked and feed millions of people. What kind of heart do you have as a human being? I mean, I don't give a damn what you think about me or what I'm talking about. I'm just talking real. Turn this shit off if you don't want to listen. You know, I'm talking real because God put stuff on my heart to talk about. He says, Nick, I didn't allow you to live and go through so much in your life if you can't share it. A lot of you don't get it because, see, you're selfish. This is what life is all about. People are so selfish with one another. Try giving. Try sharing. You'd be surprised how to change your heart. I've never been that way, so I couldn't, because I never wanted anything. You know, it's funny. I can talk like this because I could have been rich. I could have had a lot of things in my life. I never wanted it because that's not what it's all about. You know, what I did have, I shared. I gave. I realized many years ago, giving is truly blessings. I've never had anything, but I have so much. How is that possible? You know? How is that possible? You know, my life has been totally incredible. Incredible. You know? And I thank God each and every day what He has done for me. You know? That I can be able to share with people to let them know there is a God, man. And there is a hell. If there's a God, there's got to be a hell. You know, for the short time you spend here on this earth, for eternity in heaven, is it worth it? Well, you spend a few years here. You know, it reminds me of, you know, when I did 20 years in prison, I couldn't see the end of the tunnel. Because, you know, 20 years seems like a long time. It really is a long time. But if you can endure that to get to where you need to be in life, so be it. But the key is you have to be true to who you are and love God. You know, so many people have gotten away from God. They forget all the things that God's done for them. They disacknowledge that. They think it was just luck, or they think there was this or that. No, man. God is working in the background for most of you. You just have to acknowledge it. I'm only talking what I feel. My heart is heavy when it comes to talking about God. You know? Because I can tell you stories from here to next year what God has done for me. Because I actually lived life. Can you say the same? No. Because if you did, it would show. You'd have more to talk about. Anyway, I thought I'd share that, I'm talking, this is Nikolai, real talk, I'm not pulling punches anymore, If you don't like what I have to say, then so be it. Because you can rub people raw in so many different ways by telling the truth. Why is that? Why is that? Anyway, I just want to say, bless you all. And this is Nikolai. Real talk from the fire. And I hope you can understand where I'm coming from. It's not a reflection on anyone. This is just me. And if you can relate to where I'm coming from, cool. Just remember, it's important to treat people the way you want to be treated, even though they're not going to treat you the way you want to be treated. But don't let them change you, baby. Don't let them change you. They tried to break me a many a day. I'm not going nowhere, because I like who I am. This is Nikolai Jaurez saying peace out and love to each and every one of you. Peace out.